Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. By the way, I actually saw the Truman Show last night.
You actually saw what?
The Truman Show. It was on TBS. I'm
Well, good.
telling you, I'm telling you, he deserved an Academy Award.
He was great. He
Jim
was.
Carrey is so talented, and that movie is so great. I mean, it's so great. Who's the guy who plays the guy who, who's the producer and director? What was the guy's name?
Oh, you're going and putting me on the spot
He
now.
was in Apollo 13. I forget his name, but he was.
Ed Harris.
Yes, he was
Yes.
great. Everybody was great. The woman who played his wife was great. I mean, what a
For
great show.
those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about, we talked about the Truman Show last week here on the Ken and Mike podcast. So
Thank you
that's
for
that's why Ken
filling in.
is referencing it here and now. So
I
yeah,
like
it's great. He's an incredible talent.
Yes. Now, speaking of the Trump show, so jury's out. I watched part of the closing arguments were way too long. You have about 20 minutes to capture the attention of a jury or a judge.
Yep.
You go over 20 minutes, they ain't listening to you anymore. And
No.
you gotta front load it, And my hope is that there's one Biden supporter on there that's never gonna find him not guilty, so it's a hung jury. If they acquit him, that's really bad for Biden and it's good for Donald Trump. A hung jury is a hung jury, and what can I say?
Yeah, so yesterday at the Trump trial, across the street on the other side of the street, Robert De Niro was in.
Yeah, love it. I love it.
Robert De Niro was there, literally sent out as a Biden surrogate to speak out, I guess, against Donald Trump, and he, well, 50 Shades of Crazy is a phrase that comes to my head.
I don't think he's crazier than Donald Trump, but okay.
All right, so let's listen to some of Robert De Niro from yesterday outside of the Trump trial.
He certainly doesn't belong here. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot.
True.
Two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids.
True.
To be a spokesperson for himself.
True.
He's calling it as himself for himself.
Yeah.
To fool the press into inflating his net worth.
Okay, so there's that, which is really rather tame.
And all true. Everything he said was absolutely true.
But here is the absolute batshit crazier than a shithouse rat, Robert.
Spot on.
I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave.
True.
Know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life? And that's why I joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really.
I agree with every word he said.
We don't have a...
Okay, so the government under Trump will perish from the earth, Ken.
Let me ask you a question. Did we have fear? Did people believe that Donald Trump would actually not vacate the White House after the 2020 election? Did we not have that? Was that not?
Did people believe that? Yes, some people did.
Donald Trump said he would not. Donald Trump said he would not concede the election, period. Never did concede the election.
Hillary Clinton did in 2016.
9 days after the election.
And then ever since then, she has been an election denier from 2016. I've got as many clips of that, Ken, as I just had of Robert De Niro.
She got more votes than Donald Trump. That's true. That's all she said.
She said he was an unjustly elected president. But you know what? Fuck Hillary Clinton. Well, that's a poor choice of words. Let's leave Hillary Clinton in the past. Let's talk about this here and now. Were there and are there still some people who thought that Trump wouldn't leave the White House in January of 2020? Absolutely, of course. Did he? Of course he did. you know, De Niro saying, and Jill Biden was just on The View today earlier talking about how she believes that he'll try to stay for a third term, which
He said that in a rally last
I
week.
thought she was a doctor.
Didn't he say that in a rally last week?
I don't care if he says he's in love with a gorilla. It doesn't mean it's true.
Words matter, Mike.
But you believe that the world as we know it will not be the same if Donald Trump.
I believe that he will do more damage to our country and to the world than any other single human being other than Adolf Hitler. Probably Adolf Hitler was worse.
You cannot be fucking serious here. You are not this much of a lunatic.
Absolutely serious.
Almost as much damage as Hitler?
I said he's second to Hitler.
I know, that's what I said. Almost as much.
There's been.
In what way?
He eroded our support of. He's going to get out of NATO. He will dismantle the alliance. And
plus one, Donald.
But see, you and I disagree. Look, you like Donald Trump's politics,
but he did that from 16 to 20. Did the world stop rotating? Did I miss something?
Because it didn't happen. He got stopped from doing that. He did not. He was not able to withdraw from NATO. But
why was that?
Well, because he didn't have enough support to do it. But if he gets reelected,
so what you're saying is there are checks and balances to Donald Trump.
There hasn't been any of this House of Representatives. That's for sure.
Well, and whose fault is that?
Voters.
Okay.
Voters. The idiot voters.
Okay. So this latent fear that the left has that the world literally is going to come to an end.
I'm not moving to Canada.
Crazy.
I'm not doing any of that stuff.
Government will perish, said Rob. You said you were on board with everything.
Donald Trump will do more damage to our country and the world than any human being I know of. Well, I put Andrew Johnson was really bad.
When you're talking about damage, I mean, he has. Joe Biden has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to the Ukraine that could have stayed in this country and could have supported homeless veterans and homeless people.
You know,
but you'd rather send it over there and fucking give it away.
If you want to protect our allies in Europe, you've got to stop Putin. Donald Trump would not do that. Donald Trump is in Putin's back pocket. He thinks he's a brilliant man. You heard what he said about Vladimir Putin. I mean,
and Joe Biden is not in Zelensky's back pocket either, huh?
I don't think he is. And I don't think he's in Netanyahu's back pocket. Donald Trump is, by the way, more of an Israeli supporter than Joe Biden is, to be honest.
Good.
And you hear no criticism of him about the Israel-Palestine situation. You all heard about Joe Biden. It depends who you like. If you don't like Donald Trump, you see everything Joe Biden does in a better light. If you don't like Joe Biden, you see everything Donald Trump does in a better light. Okay? That's
for you. For you to be on board with what De Niro said verbatim.
I don't like him, by the way. I don't like
crazy talk, Ken. De Niro is a delusional old Trump deranged syndrome suffering dingbat.
I've said this before Robert De Niro said it. Donald Trump is the most dangerous person to the world and to our country that as a president of the United States in the history of the United States. I absolutely believe that. I think he's not only the worst president, I think he's a dangerous president.
So you think Donald Trump is, say, more dangerous than let's go back to Lyndon Baines Johnson, who escalated the Vietnam War, responsible for the killing of tens of thousands of American of soldiers who lied continually about that war.
As did Dwight Eisenhower.
More dangerous than LBJ.
As did LBJ, as did Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon killed a ton of people in Vietnam. The policy was insane.
He ended the Vietnam War.
He had no choice. The country was falling apart.
He ended it.
And what
so LBJ less dangerous than Donald Trump?
By far. How about the Great Society? How about all the good things?
Great Society's been a great failure.
And what Donald Trump did was support white supremacy. I'll take Lyndon Johnson over Donald Trump any day. I'll take Richard Nixon over Donald Trump any day. I'll take Dwight Eisenhower over Donald Trump any day. The only president who was almost as bad as Donald Trump was Andrew Johnson. That's it.
Boy, That is awfully benevolent of you to choose Dwight Eisenhower over Donald Trump. That really says a lot.
I like he did the interstate highway system. You got to hand it to him.
God, Ken, you are absolutely nuts. I can't believe how nuts you are.
Do you understand that people who don't like Donald Trump agree with everything I'm saying? You do understand that?
No, I don't believe that for a second.
Okay. Well, I know people who hate Donald Trump more than I do.
I believe that.
And I have some admiration for Donald Trump.
With the crowd that you run with, I certainly believe that.
I have Donald Trump supporters in my crowd. I have friends who are adamant. My cousin, who listens to the podcast, who is a staunch supporter of Israel, is a supporter of Donald Trump. He thinks Joe Biden is not a supporter of Israel. And he is supporting Donald Trump. And he's my cousin. I love him dearly. That's the way it goes. Listen, I state my opinions, but I don't judge friendships based. If so, I wouldn't be talking to you.
Well, I may not talk to you anymore after today. So.
Dennis Quaid, you want to mention Dennis Quaid is supporting Donald Trump. You know.
What's that?
Dennis Quaid.
Yes, Dennis Quaid, who's playing Ronald Reagan, one of your favorite presidents, in a new movie that's coming out, has announced that he is going to support Donald Trump. I think that's awesome. Good for him. I like him even more than I already did.
Do we really care what Robert De Niro and Dennis Quaid and Kevin Costner and Barbara Streisand think? We talked about this on the show. Do we care? What do we care what they think? I mean, yes, they're popular in the entertainment business, but their opinion doesn't matter. I like Dennis Quaid, but you know, for Dennis Quaid, remember, for Dennis Quaid to say that the judicial and justice system has been weaponized. Nobody weaponized the justice system more than Donald Trump when he has been sued hundreds of times for failure to pay contractors when he hires them to do work. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I mean, it's unlimited, you know?
Well, I don't think he weaponized them to go after people who might have protested a school board meeting or that kind of thing, were very strong traditional Catholics, like the Justice Department did to look into them. I don't recall any of that happening while Trump was president. Maybe I missed something. I don't know.
Joe Biden
Trump did not pay his bills.
The president doesn't do that. The president doesn't. It's just like Donald Trump saying that Joe Biden put a contract on him by having the FBI have.
Well, that was stupid.
But words are power. He's got a responsibility, and he's totally irresponsible. Okay.
You sound like a second grade teacher. Words are power.
So, any more about Donald Trump you want to mention?
No, I think I've had enough.
Okay. So, where do you want to go from here? Do you want to talk about the Maine flag?
Yes, I deliberately put on my traditional Maine, the symbol of the state of Maine shirt here.
That's great. I love it.
Which I got at Rogue Life over in Lewiston. So what is this? They want to.
So you know the big brouhaha about the Appeal to Heaven flag. So the Appeal to Heaven flag, which is a white flag with a pine tree, green pine tree, and it says an appeal to heaven. And this flag was from. Let me see if I can find out when this flag. It was used. Alito has got into a lot of trouble because Alito, Supreme Court Justice Alito, flew that flag over his house, and it was a flag that was used in the January 6th insurrections. And let me see when it's an old flag. I think it dates back to the Revolutionary War. And it was it's a very old flag. But because Maine is going to have on its ballot a choice to get rid of the old ugly flag and get the new old flag.
The Dirigo flag in exchange for the flag that I'm wearing on my shirt.
People worried that. Now, I want you to understand that to Shenna Bellows' credit. I know that Shenna Bellows, you don't agree with everything she says. And she says, nope, we've heard comments about this, but this is a legitimate ballot question. We're going to put it on the ballot. If people don't vote for it because of this, that's their right to do. But if they vote for it, that's their right to do too. So
I can't believe we're voting on a flag.
I think it's I listen. I'm a flag person. I put flags out. I have the old Maine,
I agree about it.
the Maine flag.
Yeah, I like
I have a
this.
flag.
I like the Dirigo flag. I also like this flag. I really, I really don't have a huge affection for either one of them. I would be fine with either one of them. I kind of like this, the shirt that I'm wearing. I kind of
Great
like
shirt.
that
Like it.
flag.
Like it.
That's to me, it's just, I don't know. There's something simple and traditional about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about it. I mean, the Dirigo flag has a soldier and a sailor,
Yeah.
both male, of course, because women didn't count when we.
Is there a female on this flag?
No, that's
Jesus,
what I like.
about gender with you guys?
That's exactly why I like mascots to be funny, fuzzy, furry little animals. Because
Jesus.
then you don't have to be gender. A Wolverine, that's the kind of mascot you want. Not a chief or a redskin or Chief Wahoo. No. Animals. Animals.
The world was a lot better when we had Chiefs and Redskins and Chief Wahoos than it is now. Than we have Washington Commanders and the stupid Cleveland Guardians. What a dumb name.
Yes. That is a bad, you're right. That is a bad.
What an absolutely dumb, stupid name. So
now you sent to me a thing about Democrats freaking out about Joe Biden. So let me say this about that. In my opinion, if the election was today, Donald Trump would win.
He would.
I think that's true. I think 6 months is a long time away. I think Joe Biden is running a poor campaign. I think that what Joe Biden needs to do is, instead of comparing himself to Donald Trump, which is really not a winning formula, is to, I talked about this last week, to appeal to the middle class, appeal to the working American, and try and sell yourself as a common man compared to an elitist rich man, Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has been masterful at using populism as a vehicle. I mean, he really is. Listen, he is really good in rallies. He really knows what to say, resonates with people. He has people saying, yeah, I don't care what he did. I don't care what he does. I mean, he could kill somebody in Times Square, I'd vote for him. That's a pretty strong populism appeal. So what Joe Biden's got to do is don't start saying how great the economy is. People don't believe it. Okay. Don't start saying I've got the solution to the border issue. No, say, listen, if you want a strong working America, I'm the one who will stand up to the middle class. I'm the one who will lower your taxes. I won't raise the rich. I'll lower the taxes for the middle class.
Why didn't he do that in the 4 years we've just lived through?
Well, he did. He's been giving away money for student loans right and left.
True, which is, just absolute horseshit.
Yeah. But that's, if he's going to win, that's the message that he's got to send out. And
yeah, he's got to do that. Keep forgiving student loans. That's a tax break in a sense, except somehow, some way. How does that money get paid? All right. Does it just vanish and disappear in the air? Where does that go?
Smoke and mirrors, it's called. Yeah.
That's not an answer.
But Mike, everything we pay for comes out of taxes. You know that. Everything.
So we're going to pay for that, just in a different way.
What he should be saying is, I'm going to tax the billionaires who get away without paying any taxes. Donald Trump hasn't paid any taxes in how many years? 15 years? 20 years?
Yeah.
That's what you say to the middle class. Mike, whether it's true or not is totally irrelevant.
I understand that. Truth does not factor into any of this. I totally understand that. So you're not freaking out like the Politico is announcing. Let me say
one other thing. Even though I said to you that I think Donald Trump's the worst president, the most dangerous man in the world in the United States, he's going to have very little impact on me. Okay, who gets affected by Donald Trump will be the lower class, Black women in Mississippi who need an abortion. Those are the people who will be affected by a Donald Trump presidency, not a white 71-year-old male who lives in Maine. He won't have any impact on me whatsoever. None. Zero.
Yeah, well, he does have an impact on me. I'm a white 63-year-old male, and groceries are way too expensive. The cost of living for me is still way too expensive, and it's way more expensive than it used to be, than it was 4 years ago. So when I asked
But,
myself, am I better off now than I was 4 years
but
ago? The
Donald
answer
Trump
was a great
inherited. Donald Trump
I
inherited.
don't care. Were we better off 4 years ago is the question. I look at me in the mirror and I say, self, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And the answer is no, I was better off 4 years ago.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think consumer confidence is going up.
So you don't
Yeah,
think that I was better off 4 years ago than I am now?
I don't think I was. I think the world is a safer place than it was 4 years ago. I look at it globally, not just locally.
Well, I don't look at it globally. I do look at it locally.
Right.
I,
But
I want to take care of make America great again. I want to be America first. That's what I want to be.
I'm okay with America being first. We are first. I'm fine with that.
No. If you were an America first guy, then you wouldn't support the crap that we're doing in Ukraine, and you'd want the border shut down completely.
You, you'll never. I read what's on the Statue of Liberty. Do you want me to recite it to you again?
No, because I don't give a crap about it. That
I
doesn't.
do. I do. We are the land of the free. The
Not
land.
anymore. No, we are the land of the free and the home of the brave. But Ken,
That's what made us
we are
great,
being
Mike.
flooded. We are being overrun.
I know with rapists,
Illegals who come in here as criminals and kill and rape and pillage and break laws. They break the law. The first thing they do as they enter the country is break the law.
So this is how you get votes, Donald Trump. You make people scared. That's what you do.
I think it's a legit issue that scares people.
Sure, because Donald Trump makes you scared. My daughter's going to get raped if these illegal aliens come to the United States. We have a huge Somalian population. I don't see them going around raping people any more than white men do. I mean, seriously.
Okay, everything is fine then. Forget about it. I'm sorry I brought it up as an issue.
Character matters, and I think Donald Trump has none.
I
don't like Joe Biden.
Joe Biden doesn't either.
I think we need some new people in the 50s and there's no more the 60s. I think we should have an age limit for presidents to even be able to run.
That ship has sailed, Ken. We had a chance. The Republicans had a chance with Ron DeSantis, and he got rejected. The Democrats decided that this doddering, old, dementia-suffering fool was a better choice than, I don't know. Kamala Harris is what, 40 years younger than Biden or 30 years younger than Biden? She's adult, but she's younger than Biden.
Now, the problem is it's hard to get rid of a sitting president. You just can't do it. I mean, the people around him aren't going to say, hey, you're going to lose. You got to get out of the race. They're not going to say that to him.
Speaking of old politicians, Chellie Pingree's got to be closing in on what, 80? She's pretty friggin' old. And of course, she's got that seat for as long as she wants it. There are two Republicans, neither of whom I've ever heard of before, who are challenging one another to be the sacrificial lamb to Chellie Pingree. Doesn't this say a lot? One of them's Andrew Pantadosi of Cape Elizabeth. The other one is Ronald Russell. They're facing off in the primary June 11th. Doesn't this say a lot about politics? Neither of these guys has a snowball's chance in hell to win, yet they want to be the nominee and get their heads handed to them.
Well, I think they see it as why is Demi Gazunas running against?
I totally agree.
It's a token sacrifice, and I guess the theory is that you'll get supported in other things if you do this. I don't know. Chellie Pingree has got that seat as long as she wants it. I don't know if she thinks that Hannah's going to succeed her there. I don't know if Hannah's going to run for governor. It's hard to tell. I think Troy Jackson is probably the odds-on favorite, although it's going to be really hard for me to vote for Troy Jackson.
Such a stooge.
I know. But that's the state of politics today. We don't really have anybody, do we?
Yeah, but we've got Chellie Pingree, who's closing in on 80. Susan Collins is closing in on 80. Angus King is on the other side of 80.
Is he over 80 years old?
Yeah. And at least Jared Golden's under 50. I'll give him that.
Jared Golden could run for governor. I think he'd have a pretty good shot.
You think so?
I do. Anybody who gets elected in the second district as a Democrat has a pretty good chance, right?
Yeah, I think they're more sane than people are in the first district.
What are
That's
you
for sure.
throwing your name into the hat?
If nominated, I will not accept. If elected, I will not serve.
So before we go, we lost a great one,
Bill Walton.
Bill Walton. Great
And
guy. But yeah, you know more than I do because you're in sports.
well, Walton is one of the most interesting figures in American sports in the last 50 years. And most of it not for what he did on the court, but what he did off the court as a human being. You'll love this because Bill Walton was arrested in 1971 on the UCLA campus for protesting against the Vietnam War. There's a great picture of the cops trying to get him into a bus at 7 feet tall. It's hilarious. But his post-playing career after the Celtics won the title in '86 is his feet broke down again, and he played 10 more games for the Celtics, and that was it, and retired after that. But the stories that have come out about Walton and his love of the Grateful Dead, he was very close personal friends with Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir, the whole crew, went to probably, he estimates, 500 Dead concerts in his life. The
Wow.
stories of taking the '86 Celtics to see the Grateful Dead in Worcester, including Celtics center Robert Parrish, are hilarious. And the other benevolent stories of this guy that we've heard now since he passed away on Sunday, a true pop culture icon who, was he succeeded Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, then Lou Alcindor at UCLA as the center, won 88 straight games in college, scored 44 points on 21 out of 22 shooting in a national championship game, and then won an NBA championship with Portland, won an MVP, then didn't play for almost 6 or 7 years because of the injuries. I think there are very few athletes who get to the point of transcending sports and become someone almost mythical in pop culture. And I think that's where he was with things. And he was just a grand guy who loved life. If you can find one person who has a discouraging word to say about Bill Walton, please bring them to me because I want to meet them.
Yeah, ditto to everything you said, and just a great personality. And unfortunately, my age, 71 years old,
Yeah,
which always gets me thinking about something knocking on my door.
I
Uh,
know.
I just want to mention before we go, Grayson Murray, the golfer who committed suicide. What a tragic story that is. And once again, I mean, look, we have mental illness everywhere, and we have people get depressed and suicidal. I mean, knock on wood, I've never been so depressed that I want to take my life. But being that kind of depths of despair is so sad, so disheartening.
For a 30-year-old man with the incredible talent that he was gifted with, to be as troubled as he was for much of his life with mental illness, depression, substance abuse is so sad. It's such a sad thing. And for him to, in the middle of a tournament, withdraw, and it came out today that he died from carbon monoxide poisoning. He started his vehicle and died because of the carbon monoxide poisoning in his house. My heart breaks for his parents. We're both parents. We both have, kids older than that now. But I can't imagine the pain of being a parent, and so they it's so easy to say, but it's true. You don't know how another person is feeling. You don't know what's going on behind the walls of their eyes. You don't know what's going on in their private lives. And the old until you walk in another person's shoes is so appropriate because, there but for the grace of God, Ken. It's such a sad thing. I'm glad you brought it up too.
Brother, and so no matter how much we debate politics in the world, you got to remember that friendship still matters more than anything else. And you can't take these things personal. You got to understand how people are. There's quite desperation out there, and so when you see somebody, try and lift them up and be thankful if you don't have that issue and you don't have that mental illness.
Exactly. And, one of the things I've been able to do as I've gotten older here and starting to get dinged up with the body and such is to try to look every day when I feel like I need it is for some some perspective on life, to give me the perspective that I need to punch through. And I see it frequently, virtually every day, whether you see somebody standing on a traffic island with a sign begging for money, or
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who's got ALS, which is one of the most devastating afflictions you can get. His life is slowly being snuffed out. And I think of him, and those are the things that I use to give me perspective. And the Grayson Murray story, is that his last name?
Grayson Murray, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, is another one of those things that gives me the perspective that I need.
So let's be thankful we're here debating the issues, and we'll see each other again next week. How do you like that?
I am, and you will.
See you later, brother.
All right, pal. Good one.